Issue 3, Consular Clash.
The State Department this week ordered closed China's consulate in Houston, Texas. Used as an operations hub by Beijing's Ministry of State Security Intelligence Service, U.S. officials had become increasingly concerned about the consulate's use as a base for harassment of Chinese Americans. The consulate was also involved in intellectual property theft via its support for cyber teams on the Chinese mainland. China is pledging to respond.
Clarence, another week, another escalation in what appears to be a new Cold War struggle with China.
Indeed it is, and this is, once again, we see really an upping of the ante, if you will. These are old complaints about us having our intellectual property stolen by China. There are new twists now about internal espionage and corporate espionage, including healthcare espionage on the work that's being done here against coronavirus. The only thing suspicious to me is the timing of this all, because once again, this is election campaign season and a great time to flex our muscles against China. What's going to come of this? With the ball's in China's court now to see what kind of reciprocation they may make now. But this is all part of the same complex of tensions that we have had in regard to China and that whole Southeast Pacific region, and or rather the China Sea and the whole regional alliances that we're trying to work with.
You know, Alexander, one of the things that's interesting here is the degree to which, is this, you know, President Pompeo, as it were, making policy, or is it President Trump? Because, you know, the Secretary of State this week, again on Thursday, making a very aggressive speech about China. How much does this fit in with President Trump's ideal of really a sort of cool level playing field in international relations?
Well, on China, he speaks out of both sides of his mouth. You know, he has two tongues on China, and he's long had two tongues. He initially praised the cooperation of China with respect to COVID, and then he turned 180 and it became the China virus. At the end of the day, whether these moves are being directed by Pompeo or Trump, there really is an incoherent policy. There's on the one hand the bravado, on the other hand, the reality, which is that this virus emanating from China is killing Americans and has killed many, many thousands. By the time we're recording this, 150,000 likely Americans. So it's a political issue, and I don't think any kind of tactical diplomatic war games are going to solve Trump's problem, which is he didn't protect Americans from China.
Pat, your thoughts on that idea of Trump and the China and the COVID angle?
I think there's no doubt about it, and we ought to be angry and enraged at what China did, letting it go for weeks on end, which resulted in hundreds of thousands of dead outside of China. That's an outrage. And I think people are right to be upset and angry. But let me say this about Mr. Pompeo. Remember Petraeus' question as he went up to Baghdad. Tell me where this ends. We keep moving in steps against China, putting them down here and there, and no doubt about it, they're a dreadful regime, Communist Party, what they're doing to the Uyghurs, what they're doing in the South China Sea, they're looking for trouble. But the last thing I think we want, Tom, is a hot war with China, and the second to last thing is another Cold War, which lasts us 30 or 40 years face to face with these folks.
Eleanor.
For all Trump's tough talk, he has not made anything better with China. The trade balance is in worse shape, something Pat used to talk about a lot. And the fact that they should not have let the virus get outside of Wuhan province. The world has a right to be angry with them about that, but we have a right to be angry with our president for not stepping up and taking the leadership to protect us from the virus once it got here. And you know, closing the consulate, I think you have to go back a long way, probably to wartime, to find closing a consulate. I mean, this is, you know, it's an extreme measure. There's no subtlety to Trump's approach. I mean, you could tighten screws, you could, you know, just, you know, put some warnings out here and there. we're going to get into a tit for tat exchange now, and the Chinese are much better at it because we are a much more open society. They have lots of ways to mess with us, and we have very few ways to mess with them that aren't way too dangerous.
You know, Clarence, one of the things here that as I understand it, the Houston consulate really was being used as an intelligence station. A lot of harassment face to face of Chinese expats, of Chinese Americans. You know, ultimately, couldn't you say that President Trump, how much attention he's paid to it, perhaps doesn't matter, but his policy in terms of closing it has stood up for American values? No?
We've been known to use our consulates as espionage bases as well. This is kind of part of the international game. So that's why we have to be careful how we deal with China, because for every move, there's a counter move. And Eleanor's right, they are very good at this game. President Trump likes to keep his tactics as simple as possible. And that means he's going to be, I think, tiptoe around China as much as possible right now, when he's much more comfortable dealing with the domestic issues.
All right, Alexander, you've got 10 seconds concluding.
Yeah, the tragic thing is the ban is what we needed in this instance. I mean, Governor Cuomo needed to shut down the Port Authority. Donald Trump needed to shut the borders comprehensively.
All right. Okay, 10 seconds. Sorry, we're running out of time. Anyway,